Okay, guys, this story right here is about blood magic. This is a submission to a story, a first person story read by Ashley about a woman's husband who was doing occult ritual blood magic. Here's what I got to say, guys, before we get into this video, because people seem to think that life isn't spiritual. I am a Christian, guys. I operate from a Christian viewpoint. I look at everything through a Christian lens, and I understand that demons do exist. But the Bible tells us that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. That word fear is a pejorative term, meaning cowardice, meaning weakness. And God hasn't given us a spirit of weakness, but of boldness, meaning that we run towards the fight. We don't run away. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against the powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That means we don't run from the fight. We don't back down. We put on the full armor of God and we go straight head into the fight. Now, with that being said, the Bible is very clear that we are not to do necromancy, magic, any type of occult practices, any type of witchcraft. And that's exactly what happened with this guy. Now, when you open the door to the enemy, it's no wonder that paranoid schizophrenic behavior would be something that's a result of it. Now, let's get into this video and then I'll talk to you about it when we get back.
My husband practiced blood magic and is now a paranoid schizophrenic. Disclaimer time. This is a story submitted by a listener. This is a personal experience and this is being shared for discussion. I am in no way, shape, or form suggesting that blood magic or occult practices or supernatural practices can cause mental health conditions. Okay, those are very complex things that can be caused by a variety of different factors, and this story should not be taken as a medical explanation, obviously. You guys know that. I'm sharing this because the person who submitted this wanted this told. It was submitted by someone named Cassidy, and she said she's been married to her husband for 2.5 years. She calls him C for this story, and she said he was medicated for paranoid schizophrenia before she even met him. She has never seen him completely unmedicated, but has seen him have hallucinations when his medications haven't been working well, which is typically when he's very stressed. The story that she is sharing is a story that C told her about a time when he was a teenager. He moved around a lot growing up because his stepdad was in the military, but this particular story took place in North Carolina because his grandmother lived there and she lived on a large parcel of property. And this happened when he and some of his friends were hanging out in a barn near his grandmother's house. He told Cassidy that he and his friends were doing blood magic, and he didn't go into detail about what exactly they were doing, but sort of indicated to her that they were just sort of teenagers messing around with stuff that they didn't really understand, and they really didn't think that anything was going to happen. He said at one point, doing what they were doing, just after they all opened up their hands with a sharp object, you guys know what I'm saying, they all started to hear these inexplicable noises coming from around the barn. They all felt like the energy in the barn had changed, that it was heavy, and they all got freaked out, and so they ran out of the barn back toward the house. He says as he was running past the side of the barn back toward the house, he noticed that his name had been scrawled in very large letters written in a dark red liquid, you know what I'm inferring, along the side of the barn. And as he noticed it, he heard a very loud, deep and booming laugh coming from inside the barn. Fast forward to later in life, he was in his early 20s and started to show the signs of schizophrenia. And he was very quickly diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic. And this kind of came as a shock because he was the first person in his family with this diagnosis. Sometimes it is hereditary, but not in his case. And Cassidy says that C is actually the one that is absolutely convinced that his diagnosis came as a direct result of messing with evil things he didn't understand. Claims that he has also been touched by unseen forces and claims to have seen an alien on an Indian reservation while attending a job corps in his late teens, and he attributes all of this to messing with something evil, as he says. She says it's important to note that these two experiences both happened before he started displaying any symptoms of schizophrenia. Cassidy says she is in psychology and understands that childhood development plays a role in the likelihood of schizophrenia later in life, and C's mother was not the best mother, and she believes that she actually played a role in his later diagnosis. Because he had not shown any symptoms earlier than his early 20s, and because there's no family history, she does wonder a little bit if maybe he invited something in. She said she hopes to hear what other people think. If you comment on this one, please be respectful, please be kind, and if you have a spooky scary story time or something that you want community feedback on, please send it in. We would love to hear it.
So here's the thing, guys. He 100% absolutely most certainly did allow something in. You cannot do these rituals, this sort of occult practices, this demonic stuff, and not expect demons to come on in. Right now, me personally, Marcus Dixon, I'm under the impression that schizophrenia is always demonic. There's never an instance where it's just some normal mental health. I don't like these labels that we put on things for the pharmaceutical company to be able to monetize someone's demon oppression. I think it's sickening. I think it's crazy that that's what we go to. Regardless of that, though, guys, there's these things that happen when you open the door to the demons in your life. They come in, they operate fully within your life, and they do things to you and cause things to happen, or at least whisper into your ear to get you to come into agreement with what their agenda is. Now, as you see here on the screen, guys, I shared what her channel is. She's also on YouTube under the same name, so you guys can watch her on YouTube for the people that don't use TikTok. But there's a lot of spiritual talk being done in the comment section, as I'm glad people did show up and show out to represent what this truly is, which is demonic. This person says, I'm a firm believer that mental health isn't always, or mental illness isn't always what we think it is. Absolutely. It's definitely something demonic. A Catholic bishop I once knew told me that he believes 80% of mental illness is caused by paranormal forces. We use this word paranormal nowadays because we don't want to call it what it is. It's demonic. A lot of people want to believe in ghosts and spooky and creepy stuff. It's always demonic, guys. There's no such thing as ghosts. Just like there's no such thing as aliens, it's always demons. I think the veil is a lot thinner or pulled back more for some individuals, and it is often mistaken for mental illness. I think these are people battling demons they open the door for, not realizing it. 100%. After working in psychiatry for 20 years, I believe that some mental illness happens because of chemistry. However, sometimes we don't fully understand what there is beyond us. I do believe that there are good and bad polarities. Sometimes the veil between us and beyond is thinner than we realize, and some people can see. Maybe he needs an exorcism. So I want to share with you real quick what I looked up about this blood magic. So this right here is a page called the Occult World. And I just want to read you real quick what it says about this. It says, blood is a source of power unleashed in ritual sacrifice to appease gods and conjure demons and other spirits. Blood sacrifices are described in some grimoires supposedly derived from ancient rituals calling for animal sacrifice to please God. Now, we know that God sent Jesus Christ to die on the cross for our sins. There's no need for any sacrifice of any animals ever again. Jesus paid the cost once for all. This right here, anything that they're doing now is to appease a different God. They're not trying to please God the Father in heaven. They don't need to do this anymore. So anytime this is being done, it's exactly what they said, to appease lowercase gods and conjure demons. It says some sources of blood are considered to be more powerful than others. Human blood is identified with the soul and carries the greatest power. Ingesting it is believed to confer the powers and strengths of the victim upon the conqueror. Possessing a few drops of a person's blood gives a witch or a magician power over that person, or enables the magician to harness the person's emotional state. By the principles of sympathetic magic, a person can be bewitched or cursed. Clearly, this seems like something that no one in their logical mind would do. This is why the Bible strongly warns against this type of practice. But we have people out here doing these things, and then they're shocked and surprised when something demonic starts to manifest in their life. This is no laughing matter, guys. I understand that some of these submissions and these stories could be fake. Some of these submissions and these stories could be AI generated stories for clicks and views. But what we see here is that this is real. This is something that we shouldn't be dabbling with. And this is something that the Bible has strongly warned us against. Witchcraft and necromancy, mediums, psychics, all that stuff is demonic, guys. And it's definitely opening a door to something demonic happening in your life. And we should avoid it and mark it as demonic at all costs. So that's my thoughts on this, guys. I will share this link to this video in the description to give Ashley credit for her work, as well as to make it easy for you guys to follow her if that's what you choose to do. That's going to do it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, God bless.